Now, brief update for all the UP alumni and to all those people interested in the University of the Philippines. What are the basic changes in the UP educational system, and also what are the latest news developments if you visit the University of
Yeah.
the Philippines now?
Well, the basic changes, I wouldn't call them basic changes, but let me say we've been using a lot of technology in the way we teach this time. We've had uh, uh, our students are in touch with professors abroad via video conferencing, and our doctors also are in touch with their counterparts abroad via video conferencing. So it's really more in terms of technology and also in terms of the new programs that we have. For example, but this is not yet in orbit, but we're thinking of putting up a Philippine Genome Center. And when I arrive on the 8th, I have a meeting with the president, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, to present to her our proposal to put up a Philippine Genome Center. Um, but I wouldn't want to uh, I mean, until it is approved, I wouldn't want to say that that is our accomplishment. But we're thinking along those lines. We're now thinking out of the box. We're thinking of doing the things that we think we will not be able to do, but which we will try to do anyway. Because that's the way to do it now. Um, we were watching a video clip. The title of that video is "Did You Know?" and you could access it through YouTube. And there's one statement there that really caught our attention, and that statement goes something like this: Did you know that we are now training students for technology that has not been discovered and for problems that do not as yet exist? Which is very true. So you have to prepare students so that they are able to meet these challenges, because knowledge itself becomes obsolete. So you have to teach students how to unlearn old knowledge and to learn new ones and to adjust. And that's the essence of our general education program. So we have been continuously improving our general education program. When I went to college, I did not know what the purpose was of the GE program. I just took those courses because they were part of my curriculum. Little did I know that in those courses, I was trained to think critically, to analyze, to be, I was given the skill for continuing self-education, and that's what we would like to to for our students to experience. We have new programs as well. We're keeping up with the times. We do research, yung cutting edge research. So many things are going on in many of the different parts of the university in terms of research, in terms of new programs, in terms of technology, and in terms of infrastructure.
How would you compare the present quality of education in the University of the Philippines with the other universities around the world?
Let's put it this way. There is a ranking. There are several rankings of university all over the world. But if you talk with academics, the academics would not want to take these rankings seriously. Some of them use it to advertise their universities, but the more important thing in surveys or in rankings is to look at the criteria that they use. Uh, I will not name the surveys or the rankings, but there are surveys which depends largely on perceptions. And if you look at the methodology, one would begin to wonder how you could send out, for example, 100,000 questionnaires and only 15,000 would respond. And then they make a conclusion on the basis of what 15,000 or 10,000 would say. So that's a question in terms of methodology. There are surveys where it is very obvious that the questions are biased for financial resources. Like they ask questions like, how many of your students have email accounts, or what is your computer student ratio? and what is the faculty salaries. And if you look at this, UP will never be able to compete. I am not trying to be defensive. What I am simply saying is there are questions about this survey. So, but if you ask me how do we compare, I don't think that we are left behind. We try to keep up. And I would say if the University of the Philippines has the same amount of resources that the best and the leading universities in the world have, I don't think we will be far, far, far behind.
As a common observation, we have four Philippine presidents who are graduates of the University of the
Yes,
Philippines.
yes.
We have Supreme Court justices,
Yes, and
many
many
successful
professors.
alumni
Yes, yes,
around the
yes,
world.
yes, yes.
What's the reason behind this?
Well, let's put it this way. I think in the university, it has not been lost in the minds of many that we train students for leadership responsibilities wherever they will go. If they go to government, they go to the private sector, to industry, to civil society, to NGOs, private practice. We train them for leadership responsibilities. We don't train them to pass the board exams. Some people accuse not really accuse, but say other universities teach their students to make sure they pass the board exam. We don't do that. It is in fact incidental, almost incidental, that we teach you these things, but incidentally, if you pass the board, that's okay. So I think that is the reason why. And even if you ask employers, even if you ask graduates of UP, they feel that it is that which makes them different from the rest. Um, but I'm going to talk about later if you want to ask me about what are our plans for the next century, then I can probably elaborate on it.
Speaking of alumni around the world, now this message is for you. Dr. Roman, what are the various ways of being able to help the University of the Philippines?
Oh, well, of course, the moral support is very important, and of course, the financial support. And the third would be to lead by example. If they show the world what it takes to be a UP graduate and what a UP graduate is, you are in effect promoting the university. To lead by example is the best way to support the university. You do good in your job and then you tell them you're from UP, then that is promoting the university. That's the easiest way and no financial resources involved. Okay, so help us by promoting the UP in its best lights. That's one. The moral support when we're there asking for your support, then you easily respond. That means a great deal to us. Of course, the financial support is also important, and I must say that we would never have succeeded in our fundraising if the alumni did not respond. No? Although I would also like to acknowledge the non-alumni because what really we were in awe of people who donated to UP and who were not even UP graduates. You have graduates of other schools donating to UP from Ateneo, from De La Salle, and it warms our heart that that they donate not just small amounts but big amounts because they believe that they too have a stake in UP because UP is the national university.